All right, so exercise 3, I'm going to remind you guys of how I like to kind of read these questions. Exercise 3 tells us a regression line. So that's the first thing I notice. I don't even read the question. The first thing I notice is, okay, great, it's a regression question. I might even look and see what the question is asking, and so we're trying to interpret the slope. So all of these interpretations start correctly. They all say for every one increase in a variable. So one of the common problems here is that there's going to be the interpretations of y-intercept or interpretations of correlation. We don't see that going on. There's nothing we can necessarily get rid of, except for, without even reading the question stem, we know, zooming in, not intentionally, we know the slope is this. So our interpretation has to have that value in it, which means A is off, right? So we've got these ones here. We might even read a little bit further without even looking at the question, right, stem. We see that we're either talking about an increase in car price or a decrease in car price. And we know with a negative slope, we're going to be decreasing our, whatever the heck our y variable is. So we can get rid of B as well. The only difference between C and D is that they have different variables for the X and the Y, right? One says if we increase mileage, it's going to decrease price. One says if we increase price, it's going to decrease mileage. Now, we might have an assumption about the way these are actually, like, right, what relationship they might be looking at. But remember what we went through on Thursday, the different ways to tell X and Y apart. You want to use that as your last ditch effort in terms of figuring out what the heck's going on. So looking at our actual equation doesn't help us. They used X and Y instead of the variable names. But if we go up to the top, we can see we're trying to predict price. And remember, anytime we're doing predictions, that's finding a Y hat. So our Y is going to be the price of the car, which we know that this is going to be, right, change in Y over change in X. So our change in Y is going to be that negative one. That's going to be about the price. So the correct answer here is C. D is just having X and Y switched. B was not paying close attention to the direction of the slope. And then A was using the intercept instead of the slope. So one thing you want to do as you're working through the little progress checks on AP Classroom, as you're looking at multiple choice that I've given you, is just generally always try to figure out what the wrong answers we're doing instead, because those are just common pitfalls that students make. And if you can recognize them, you won't make them. All right, so our last question here says that a particular car's price was $24,000 and it had 50,000 miles. What is the residual of this car using the model above? All right, so we are looking for the residual, which we need to remember is the little error, right? Which is our AP. It's our actual minus our predicted. We have some stuff given to us. We were told that the particular car costs this much, which we know is the price, and that it had a certain number of miles, which is our X variable, right? So we've been given an X and Y pair for this particular car, and we've been asked to find its residual. So this question requires 2 steps. First, we got to figure out Y hat, because right now we have the Y, we're looking for the E, we don't have Y hat. And that's exactly what our equation does, right? 24356.15 minus, and all we got to do is plug in our X variable, 50,000 miles. All right. Whoop. Very slow typing. There we go. Minus 0.0. All right, looks like we get 23,601. 0.1? Yes, 0.1. And this is a Y hat. This is a prediction. We thought this car was going to cost $23,601, right? And instead, it actually costs $24,000. So then we can do our step 2. We can use that formula, actual minus predicted, AP. So 24,000 minus that 23,601 that we thought it was going to be, and we'll just figure out how far off we were with that guess. I'm going to be lazy. Don't do this. Actually type it in. Should be a positive 398.9. Oops, dollars, right? Got to keep my units on there. So that's how far off we were in terms of the prediction for this car. So you guys can try exercises 4 and 5 on your own. I'll make videos for them, and then you can choose whether or not you feel like you need to watch them.